Welcome to the Confident Host podcast with me, Kay Gibbs. If you're a holiday let host or co-host looking for more bookings, more efficiencies, and to get ahead, then you are in the right place. Each episode brings you practical tips, real stories, and expert advice. On today's podcast, we talk about sustainability, why it matters, what we can do, whether that's large-scale builds, small changes, and how we can make sure it impacts positively, not just on our conscience, but on our pockets too. So let's get started. Sustainability in your holiday let. Is it a priority for you? And here's how it could be if it's not yet. I'm Kay Gibbs, holiday let coach. We're going to start with why it matters. So it's an amazing time for me to be able to talk about this with the Green Party absolutely soaring. It's also really pertinent because we are in a climate emergency. So while I believe sustainability makes business sense, it also absolutely makes sense for our future. So of course there's our planet and our future and our kids and, all that big stuff. But there's also an opportunity to show how much we care about our business and how invested we are. That care and level of attention of detail that we show towards our sustainable practices and how we share those with guests will undoubtedly reflect on the other things that we do within our business that guests can be impressed by. Holidaying is a wasteful time. There tends to be more use of energy, more use of resource, and more waste when people are on holiday. So we've got a bigger leverage to impact on the carbon footprint and the damage that's caused by the travel to our places. And also, people away on holiday can be influenced. We have an opportunity not just to make changes in our own homes and our own businesses, but to show other people how sustainable practices can be super sustainable business-wise and home-wise, but also really luxurious and plush too. That opportunity to showcase for me is the most exciting.
Hello, it's just me coming on to interrupt me to tell you about Facebook Fix. Facebook Fix is the coaching group for you if you are looking to work on your Facebook presence, to make Facebook work for you and to get bookings for this year. If you're currently not using Facebook, or if you're using it and feeling unsure and never quite sure what to post and how to word things and what to do and where to use your energy, this is for you. You can find out more or sign up to be on the early birds list, or maybe even sign up, depending on when you're listening to this, at www.kgibbs.com/Facebook Fix. And as ever, come and find me on Facebook and ask me anything at all there. I'll see you in there.
I'm going to take you through 3 different levels and share some ideas of sustainability, some examples, and hopefully you'll come away with this with a few notes of things that you might take away. Some of them are big, buildy type stuff. Some of them are really little supplier type things that you'll be able to go away and action tomorrow if you want to. Let's dive in. Sustainable builds. If you are looking to do a renovation or perhaps know there's some retrofit elements that you could change, there's some opportunities here. All of these affect your pocket as positively as they affect the planet, and they affect the guest experience really positively too. Though I will say that these infrastructural big items are the things that guests tend to miss. So all of what I'm about to talk about, if you're already doing it, make sure you're also shouting about it. Make sure that sustainability forms a key part of your offer and your marketing and is one of your USPs. Because as I mentioned, it clearly matters to a lot of people. And so it makes business sense to upsell it. Certainly my own place, which is a Sleeps 2 to 4, small, perfectly formed, but nothing spectacular, no hot tub, we don't take dogs, is unique in its eco-friendliness. We're not perfect, but everything we do is minded towards the environment. It means that people know and trust that when they come to us, the choices we will have made will have been based with green credentials. Otherwise, a completely average, normal little place. That's our selling point. Now, you might be thinking you can't make any of these changes now, but there's a couple that I certainly think you might be able to add. Let's think. Ground source heat pumps, air source heat pumps, changing your fuel. Solar panels, or at least solar thermal water heating. We have a ground source heat pump, which fuels our whole home, including the annex, with heating and hot water. It's got underfloor heating in there that delivers that warmth and a very effective thermostat. An EV charger. Now, this is a surprisingly easy add-on. We've got one, and it was really non-intrusive to get it fitted. It was about £1,400. Immediately gave us lots more bookings because the people who are looking for places with EV chargers, they absolutely need an EV charger, and it was a real win. So I would definitely look at that one. Of course, there's LED bulbs. smart thermostats, valves, draft proofing and insulation. Of course, you can do that as part of the build, but you can go back and put in even some little tape around the doors, anything in the loft space. There are things you can still go back and do to improve that. We have chosen to do lots of upcycles, being mindful, of course, of the fire regs, rainwater harvesting, and you can do that on a big scale. Or if you've got a garden, simply a water butt that you can use that water to water, or even better, guests can use that water to water, would be brilliant. Now, some of these wins are pretty much invisible to guests. They might feel that toasty warmth of my ground source heat pump, but I never get mention of a ground source heat pump in the review. I get mention of the little things that I put on top, you know, the icing. So it's really important that we shout about this in our marketing, in our guidebooks. I am big on your guidebook for telling your story. And I'm absolutely about supporting the environment, but I also want to support my business. And talking about these things in your guidebook and in the way you speak to guests and the way you tell your story does both, because it tells everyone that you mean it and you're serious and that this is your selling point. But it also tells everyone, look, if they can do it and if they can get it set up and if this nice place can feel like this, then maybe I could be doing it at home too. So make sure you don't just do the things, but that you talk about the things too. Area number 2 is sustainable practices, the things that we do day to day, week to week, that our cleaning team and our laundry team might be partaking in, or that we're doing at home, even if you're a distance host. So a few things that you may have thought of, and a couple I hope that I can inspire you to go away and have a look at. Look at your energy supplier. Are they someone working to build green infrastructures and green energy, or aren't they? And is it an easy switch to make? And while we're at it, side note, any investments you've got, any stocks and shares, the same applies there. Waste. This is a big one. We all know that guests on holiday make more waste, and it is really hard to know in different counties what different authorities want you to put in different boxes. So make it incredibly easy. Have a written copy in your guidebook, have printed out laminated bits on each of the bins, provide boxes for each thing, tell everyone exactly where everything goes, and you save yourself some bin fishing with gloves on, as well as saving the environment too. Also create a compost area if you've got the space to do it. Reduce your water use with low flow shower heads, dual flush loos, and also just a reminder to guests, just a little laminate in the bathroom that reminds them that there are environmental consequences of using lots of water. It doesn't need to be preachy. It just needs to say, this is how we do things. We've installed this dual flush. We've installed this low flow. Perhaps you'd like to keep the tap off when you're brushing your teeth. Think about toxins and the products and chemicals that you're using to clean and for your laundry. Now, if you don't already follow Nancy Birtwistle on social media and you don't have any of her books, I highly recommend her. There's nothing in there that I've tried so far that doesn't work. And so many of the tips have saved me loads of money and lots of environmental damage. And the main thing I think is I don't use products with any fragrance. I don't use products with added toxins. And I use white vinegar for everything. White vinegar is brilliant for cleaning things, for a weed killer, for an ant deterrent. It's absolutely fab. Obviously, in our business, we do lots of laundry. And so using an eco detergent is going to save your pocket and save the planet too. And it's something, again, you can talk to guests about. So rather than being preachy, you say, we're using eco detergents, we're using white vinegar as a conditioner, we're using a heat pump tumble dryer, or we're drying outside. And we would love it if you also support the environment by showing us if you haven't used certain towels, you know, if they're there for a longer stay or you've given them lots of towels, because I think that's really key, that we don't make it feel frugal and tight and difficult and uncomfy. We make it feel plush and luxurious and brilliant, but we're just mindful that we're only using what is appropriate and what we need to. And then there's also end of life of things. So, you know, when the tea towels have run out, I imagine they come into your home. They certainly come into mine. And there's other things that we can do different things with too. Facebook Marketplace is great for selling things that no longer work, but just need a new home. And of course, a charity shop, so avoiding the dump. Okay, third, we're on to my favourite really, which is guest experience and how we make that sustainable. And the reason this is my favourite is because it's the area where I know I've had the most impact on guests who've come to stay and their practices at home. And also I know it's a place where there will be things you can take away right now. You can write down. If you've got a pen in your hand, you can write down and you can go away and do. All of these are about making the guest experience really special, really personal, but with a sustainable edge. And again, you need to continue that storytelling to make sure they understand how everything fits as part of the picture. These details don't just support your sustainable efforts. Products that are sourced locally and or sustainably, certainly in the UK. There are so many opportunities to collaborate with fellow businesses, celebrate what they're doing and use this in your marketing. So some examples, I use a company called Wild England. This is a little sample that they've sent me that I've got a membership group and these are going out as little freebies so they get to test them and hopefully convert to those. This is Wild England. It's run by a guy called Ed. There's no greenwashing. He's based in Dorset. budget. They are super eco-friendly. They support surfers against sewage. They're also really socially minded too. So their workers' practices are really important to them as well, and where all the component parts are made and all that kind of thing. So there are plenty of businesses out there. I've done quite a bit of research and found that Wild is the best in my opinion, and they're also local. But your toiletries is something you can really luxe up and support local business at the same time. Then think about things in your kitchen, your consumables. So I use a scrubby instead of a plastic sponge. Again, there are multiple options of these. These are called Kerry scrubbies. You will often see these pop up on my Facebook page. Kerry does freebies for my followers, and so lots of them have converted to these. These are completely compostable. You can use them repeatedly. I wash them on a hot wash. It's the only hot wash that I do each week. Wash them on a hot wash and iron them so they look nice and neat again. Slip a new thingy on them. Then I bring them in the house once they look a little bit tired, and then I use them in the house until they're ready to be composted and they just go in the compost bin. I also use a locally made soap made by a chap near me. There will certainly be a small soap supply near you that you could use for the same. We do little tiny portions so that there's no waste, and it's again a really nice touch on this bathroom basin. There are so many examples of those things. There's coffee makers, there's confectionery makers, there's obviously bakers, all of whom will be minded sustainably, and there must be loads of options where you all are. There's also national refill companies, so I've chosen Minimal, but there are others that you can use where you can refill any cleaning supplies, washing up liquid, that sort of thing. It reduces your plastic waste. Also, the chemicals that are in it are better as well, and the company is funding more sustainable practices. Toilet roll is another one to consider if you haven't already. Again, I've done a fair bit of research onto this, and I plumped for Serious Tissues after a bit of fun where one summer we put a survey in the bathroom in my place and 2 different toilet rolls that I was choosing between, and we got feedback from guests which they really enjoyed. It really engaged them in the process, and suddenly they thought, oh yeah, toilet roll, I hadn't really thought about where that comes from or where it goes or what it's about. So there's ways of building this in that can make it really fun too. That was great. I would definitely recommend doing something where you give guests a choice and you seek their feedback genuinely, but also, for a bit of fun. Also, there's room here to do luxurious things. So we provide slippers because there's no carpet, because it's underfloor heating. So slippers are a really nice touch, but they are reusable slippers. And I make no bones about that with guests. Obviously, they get washed between guests. They look fresh, but they're another luxury touch that doesn't cost the planet. Once you've looked at the consumables around your place, you can then look specifically at your hamper if you provide one. Now, not everybody does, but most of us provide something, some kind of tea or coffee. So it's worth looking at where they're coming from. If tea bags are compostable, for example, is a good thing to check. For me, the choices that I've made mean that my hamper doesn't include any meat, it doesn't include any single-use plastic, and it includes local produce. If you're going to provide milk and you can provide it locally and in a glass, brilliant. Ask about types of milk that people want, because lots of people are eco-conscious and are looking at oat milk as opposed to cow's milk. And be sure that you've considered eco-mindedness as well as veganism as a reason for offering choice before people come. Don't offer that choice at the point of them arriving, because then you might create waste. But definitely ask people if they've got preferences before they arrive. Again, people won't necessarily notice what's in there, so explain your choices. We choose Somerset-made products to cut transport miles, ensure ethics that match our own, and support local makers. Say that in a little tag on your hamper, and that is another tip, another win, and another great review, and a reason why they might then look at doing it themselves as well. And then the last one, a sustainable welcome and your guidebook. Now, you may not have expected me to talk about guidebook as part of sustainability, but this, I think, is where we have huge leverage. So in your guidebook, are you taking opportunities to promote sustainable things for people to do? So yes, those local suppliers, makers, craftspeople, eateries, all those things. But also, are you promoting hyper local places? So a hill that's literally over there that you can walk to, rather than that big one that everyone knows about nearby. Are you including tips about your local refill shops? Eco days out, such as nature walks, conservation projects, wildlife watching, things that either don't cost the environment or actually the guest paying to go and see them is going to support a project that's going on. Public transport, front and centre. It's something we really hold the keys to for our guests, because they've got to do a lot of research unless we just put it out there for them. Make sure you're cyclist friendly. If you can, put somewhere where people can lock their bikes away safely. If you're not, then tell them where they can hire bikes from. And as I've alluded to before, suggest easy wins for guests. Don't preach, but share. Tell them your story. This is why we do what we do, and this is how we do it, and this is what you could do to help us as well. Whether that's making sure they recycle everything, reusing towels, or using public transport, whatever it is that you think they could do. I think that us small hosts have got the power to really make a shift here, because I believe the need for green, business is growing. And so I think that people will look to us for that. And if we can model how we can make practices that are environmentally sustainable, but also serve our businesses and ourselves well, then we will not only make ourselves stand out from the crowd, but we will attract more guests and build a business that's sustainable as much as it is sustainable for the environment too. Next time on the podcast, look forward to Facebook and the 10 reasons why I think Facebook is your best booking tool, or at least it should be. See you next time.